Wherever magic seemed to glitter, a miracle bridge appeared. Magic and Miracles, Episode 8. The Clock in the Clover Field. In China, where willow branches brushed a quiet lake and lanterns glowed beneath curved rooftops, a pale stone moon bridge rose in a perfect arch above the water. Its reflection completed a shining circle, as though the bridge had joined the sky above with the world below. Finian the leprechaun stood at the center, surrounded by clocks. There were tall clocks, tiny clocks, golden clocks, wooden clocks, clocks with bells, clocks with birds, and one nervous little clock that rang whenever anyone sighed. Brogan the troll approached carrying a round paper lantern. "Ah, now," Finian said, winding 3 clocks at once, "you are late." "For what?" "For the present." Brogan looked around. "It seems to be here." "Only briefly," Finian replied. "Then it becomes the past, which must be repaired before the future arrives." He pointed toward the western side of the bridge. A sign read, "Yesterday, corrections required." On the eastern side stood another, "Tomorrow, preparation essential." Brogan examined the clutter. "What are all the clocks doing?" "This one measures regret. That one measures anticipation. The silver one tells me how much time I have wasted, and the red one warns me whenever something might go wrong." The red clock rang. Finian gasped. "What might go wrong?" Brogan asked. "I do not know. That is why it is alarming." Finian hurried to a large golden clock and turned its hands backward. "Yesterday I said the wrong thing to a tea seller. If I adjust this carefully, perhaps I can return and say something wiser." The clock chimed 12 times, released a puff of green smoke, and dropped a small brass screw into the lake. "Did yesterday change?" Brogan asked. "No, but the clock feels lighter." Finian moved to another. "Tomorrow I must cross 3 hills, meet a merchant, avoid rain, remember my hat, and appear relaxed." "Will worrying help?" "It gives me something to do before the trouble begins." Brogan sat on the bridge. A lantern drifted across the lake below, its reflection moving through the moon bridge's circle. "What if time was given for learning rather than controlling?" he asked. Finian stopped winding. "I use it for learning." "What have you learned today?" "That clocks are unreliable near water." Brogan smiled. "What have you learned from yesterday?" Finian looked toward the sign. "That I was afraid of being foolish, so I spoke too quickly." "And can that be healed yesterday?" Finian hesitated. "No. I can only look at it now." Brogan nodded. "The past seems to live because you carry its meaning into the present. A miracle does not travel backward to rearrange the scene. It releases the judgment you brought forward." Finian sat beside him. "So I do not need to repair every moment?" "You can correct what is practical. You can apologize, learn, and choose differently. But peace does not require you to rewrite history." The little clock rang when Finian sighed. He covered it with his hat. "And tomorrow?" "Can you meet tomorrow anywhere except when it becomes now?" Finian looked at the eastern sign. "No. Then fear is asking you to suffer before anything has happened. That does sound inefficient. It is very devoted to repetition." Finian removed the signs and placed them face down. The lake remained still, but the reflected circle trembled whenever a fish touched the surface. Finian pointed. "The bridge is broken. The reflection is moving. But the circle disappears. Only in appearance. The bridge above has not changed." Finian watched the ripples settle. The circle returned without being repaired. "I have treated time like moving water," he said. "Every ripple convinced me something real had been lost." Brogan lifted the paper lantern. "A miracle is an interruption in the old pattern. For one instant, you stop repeating yesterday and stop rehearsing tomorrow. And then, you receive the present without the story you placed upon it." Finian closed his eyes. He heard bamboo chimes in the garden, distant footsteps on the path, water touching stone, and the soft ticking of many clocks. "I am willing to release what I decided yesterday means," he said, "and I am willing to stop demanding guarantees from tomorrow." One by one, the clocks became quiet. No hands spun backward. No future appeared. Yet the bridge seemed to widen around them. Finian opened his eyes. "How much time did that save?" Brogan laughed. "Perhaps more than a clock can measure." Finian kept one small clock for meeting trains and mealtimes. The others he packed away, no longer asking them to measure regret, fear, or worth. As evening deepened, lanterns floated over the lake. Each one passed through the reflected moon bridge, briefly filling the circle with light. Finian and Brogan crossed toward the garden path. Yesterday had not been rewritten. Tomorrow had not been secured. But for one quiet interval, time had loosened its grip, and the present asked for nothing except their willingness to be there. May we sing, rest, and dance our way home together.